Tonight's episode of the Steve Brown Arts Center podcast is dedicated to the memory of Matt Kemmerer of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, a man whose presence, kindness, and creative spirit left a mark beyond the circles he moved in. Matt was more than a supporter of the arts. He was a quiet force of encouragement, a steady believer in people, and someone who understood the power of community. His life touched athletes, neighbors, medical professionals, friends, and family in ways that continue to ripple outward. For those who knew him, Matt brought warmth and sincerity into every room. For those who only knew of him, his reputation for good humor spoke just as loudly. As a podcast rooted in storytelling, connection, and celebration of everyday creativity, we honor Matt's legacy by doing what he's valued, lifting up voices, sharing stories, and reminding one another that art is ultimately about people. Matt's family's friends, and all who carry his memory forward. We extend our deepest sympathy and our gratitude for allowing us to honor him in this way. May this episode stand as a small tribute to life well lived and a spirit that continues to inspire. This one is for you, Matt. From Joe's Pizza not in Manchester, Iowa. We are living in the snow here and the wind. Welcome to the cradle of the Bohemian Resistance, Dale's in Jesup. I'm in Chatham, and our producer Blake is in Independence. And we are the underground, the voice of rebellion and wit. Alongside those two gentlemen, I welcome you to the news for January 21st, 2026. Dale, how are you today?
I'm doing just fine, Jim, and I'm glad to see you join the ranks of the senior citizens now. So I feel guilty spending that Medicare money when you don't get any, but now you get to join right in. Congratulations on your birthday.
I told everyone I turned 21. I don't have to sneak into bars anywhere.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I always tell people I'm 59 plus shipping and handling.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, that's very good. You know, people are so kind. Facebook makes people so kind, you know, and texting and, you know, the phones have allowed that. If there's anything good that has come out of social media, that's a good thing.
Yeah. The thing I don't get is that with texting, you are so surprised when your phone rings because nobody calls you anymore. They just send you a text message. The world is turned upside down for us old guys. I really think so.
I just before the show went on, I got a phone call from an artist that I've been trying to get a hold of for a month.
Okay.
And he called me finally, and it was a good call.
Uh-huh.
You know, he's just a busy guy is what he is, which is good for an artist.
I think the Pony Express would get a letter clear out to California in 3 days or so on a horse. So I don't know, a month to get in touch with somebody, that's a long time.
Yeah, you know, I don't know about you. My mail isn't as good as it used to be out here on the country road. It hasn't went today, and I haven't seen them. There's days, even on good days, I don't see them go.
Yeah, we didn't get any yesterday, which was surprising. And then today, I had to be outside shoveling, and I think it was the postmistress, but she was in a car, and she was on the wrong side of the road, and she was behind the wheel, so she had to be on the wrong side of the street to deliver the mail. And her car was just full of these big boxes full of mail. And she said, you know, that she was doing the route backwards, but her route carrier was ill or something, had called in, so she was doing the mail. And I feel sorry for the poor lady because it was quite a process to work around that steering wheel, get all the stuff. Plus, she was going the wrong way, so she wasn't seeing the numbers on the mailbox.
Yeah.
She was coming from the opposite way they usually do it. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't know. She got to me. I guess that's the important thing. I don't know what happened to her after that.
Dale, I don't know if you remember when we were young, to work for the post office was a big deal.
Oh, sure.
It was a giant deal, a great pension, and good pay. Now you have to use your own car. It doesn't pay well.
There's a lot of pressure and a lot of crap from up above.
Yes.
In the hierarchy. Now, one time there was an ad on the window of the post office about taking the test and becoming working for the post office, and you got 10 points or something automatically if you were a veteran. I thought, well, I could probably pass that test, like deliver the mail instead of getting kicked around up at school.
Right?
That day, but I never did it, of course. But so yeah, I don't know. They've had. And you remember when phrase "going postal"? There was several years there where there was a lot of shootings in post offices and everything,
Yeah.
and that seems to have cooled down. The last, but for a few years that was in the news quite often, where I guess somebody just couldn't take it anymore, and they brought a gun to work and started shooting. But yeah, hopefully it's not that bad anymore.
I hope not. We are. Before we go on here, one of our sponsors is Derek's Repair. I know Derek listens every day or every time we put it out because he usually texts me that day. If you need your car repaired, contact Derek Marty for your car repair needs. Don't forget to check out another one is check out the podcast What Is Up with producer Bubba Seaman. We were talking about Bubba Seaman before we went on the air. He is doing a nice job with his podcast. Does an incredible job. He reaches out. He uses a service to get people even that he doesn't know, and then researches them, like singers from the other side of the country that want to be on show. And so Bubba does a nice job.
We're going to have to get a bigger budget if we're going to start flying people in from California and everything.
Yeah, we are. Tonight we were supposed to have on Billy Joe Sheldakowski, Rex Nielsen, and Katie Belvins for artists and musicians. Well, the weather. It
is pretty bad, isn't it?
You can blame the procurator at the Steve Brown Arts Center for canceling the show.
Oh, well, we didn't cancel. We just canceled the entertainment part.
There you go. We postponed the art part of it.
Yeah, and that was the wise decision. I suppose you really, like in town, you don't feel it like you do when you're out in the country like that. I remember being out on a farm and it was a snowy day like this, and I stayed with a kid and his parents went to church. And an hour later, I looked out at the driveway and their tracks were blown shut with snow. I thought, man, I had to go back to Cedar Falls. So I got in the car and left right away. I didn't wait till the afternoon. That was a real bad snowstorm. Yeah. Those things still happen.
At this point, we were going to input Tim's first song in the show. And Tim probably would have done a song about a baker at this time, but because of that, I have a story of schoolyard justice.
You're not going to sing a song?
No, not today. So it was fourth grade. I had Mrs. Davis out at the Fairgrounds Center in Cresco in the Howard Wintersheet Community School District. When I was in fourth grade, I was pretty ugly. I had big ears. On like I do now, on like I am now, handsome, and the fixed ears and everything. But I was pretty ugly. Well, my nickname was Ears.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, kids can be evil, and they imagine that, say that long and hard, Ears.
In those days, it was quite common for kids to have a nickname that referred to something, like they were skinny or they were tubby or fatso, or there was all kinds of names. That people lived with those names. Everybody knew who they were, and nobody seemed to really think about what if this was hurting little Tubby's feelings.
Well, it hurt Ears' feelings. It hurt my feelings in Mrs. Davis's class. Well, every day we took the bus from the Central Center to Fairgrounds and then back. And generally, I sat on the third row, and a guy named Andy Messersmith sat on the second row of the bus. And he invariably would turn around, holding on to his seat like so. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see me looking over my shoulder saying, Ears, just butchering me. And it had been a hard day in Mrs. Davis' class, I'm sure. The stress of fourth grade had worn on me. And I had this wonderful lunchbox that Mama had got me with Scooby-Doo. It was golden and brown and black, had a yellow handle, no, a black handle. I could see all this. And I went over top that Andy's head and I can still see the bus driver turned around driving down the road looking over his shoulder as Andy was screaming at me.
Yeah.
And crying and carrying on. And we had like 12 blocks to drive, not far. But as soon as we got there and everybody got off the bus driver took me to the high school principal, not the elementary principal. I'm sure he didn't know who to take me to. I'm sure he was the first guy to find. So he took me to the high school principal and told him what I had done, that I had taken Scooby up alongside the head of Andy. The high school principal didn't know what to do with a big-eared fourth grade kid either. So he took me to the superintendent's office. So here I am, fourth grade kid, sitting in front of this desk about the size of a 1972 Cadillac, and the bald-headed superintendent sitting behind it named Al Lighthouser. Called my mother, and Mom was working at the rest home, and Mr. Lighthouser said, Bernice, you need to come. Your son has hit another child with his lunchbox. So Mom came to the superintendent's office, and there I sat, and I can still see all this. I can see Mr. Lighthouser, bald-headed Mr. Lighthouser, and my mom in her nursing outfit, and me and fourth graders sitting there, and Mom talked him out of not punishing me somehow, about not taking me off the bus or anything. Then she took me home, and she called Andy's mom and told her what happened. And she arranged for me to go over there and play on Saturday morning then. So I went over to Andy's house and played with him on Saturday morning. That same week that I hit him over the head with my Scooby-Doo lunchbox. Andy didn't graduate with us. I don't know whatever happened to Andy. If he moved,
he got a concussion and wasn't able to concentrate after.
Might have been. But my mother had a sense of schoolyard justice, and she didn't take odds. I mean, she knew I'd been being picked on, because I'm sure I went home crying about people picking on me with my big ears. So she wasn't too mad at me, but she wanted to make sure that I didn't go to school and hit a big kid the next day. So set up that play date.
Isn't it nice though that the two moms took care of it, and they got the two boys together, didn't call a lawyer or anything or raise a fuss with the school board. They just took care of it. And actually they let the boys take care of it, which is always, to me, the best one.
Andy was a pretty nice guy to hang out with. But I can see everything that happened. That was, what is a fourth grader, 10 years old? Yeah, 10 years old. I can remember like it was yesterday. The leather of that seat, him leaning over that seat, my Scooby-Doo bucket. The bus driver turned around looking at us as he was driving.
That probably scared you more than anything else. I hate when people are doing that stuff. We were talking about names of kids or how things were different then. I remember in fourth grade, the teacher was Miss Rundle. And one of the kids in our class was named Paul Bowers. He was we call him stocky or heavyset kid. So she's teaching a lesson on types of cloud. And she's talking about cumulus clouds. She says, those are the big, white, fluffy ones. She said, sort of like Paul Bowers. And I tell you, Jim, I have always remembered what cumulus clouds are.
Yeah. Poor Paul.
Yeah, he died a few years ago. He's a good guy. But yeah, I've never, when we were teaching, you did not do that sort of thing to your students at all. That would be bad. But I did remember to this day what cumulus clouds look like.
Yeah. So, good point.
Kind of fun. Yeah.
This is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. This next segment is shouted out, and this would have been Tim's second song. But instead it's Mason's Top 100. We are into the 30s, Dale.
Okay. All right, so the really good ones now. We're starting to get in.
We're getting there. Number 39, Hank Williams Jr., Dixie on My Mind.
Okay, I've heard that.
Yep, stuck up there. I got Dixie on My Mind.
He did the NFL intro or the Monday Night Football intro for years, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Number 38, Alice in Chains, Man in a Box. That hippie stuff. Yeah, it's the hippies. Number 37, Guns N' Roses, Paradise City.
Okay, I think I've heard this song. I never was a big Guns N' Roses fan, but they came after my prime radio listening days.
There's a certain point you get stuck in that generation, and that's your music.
Well, yeah, and the thing with the 50s and 60s songs is that there were so many people, like the baby boomers or whatever, that came of age during that time. Stations just played those songs over and over again, even though it was in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. They just forgot all about the new music and played the old stuff. And so it was constantly there for.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Good point. Number 36, Alan Jackson, Tall Trees.
Don't know that.
I don't know that one, Mason. Number 35, REO Speedwagon, Take It on the Run. Take It on the Run, baby. I know that one. You know that one, Rueber?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
All right. Number 34, Aldo Nova Fantasy.
Say that again?
Aldo Nova Fantasy.
No, don't know that.
I don't know that one either. Number 33, Joe Walsh's Life Has Been Good to Me. Yep. Number 32, Anne Murray, Could I Have This Dance?
Mm-hmm. He picked that, though.
He picked that one. Yeah.
I'm a little surprised.
He is eclectic.
Yeah.
Number 31, Boston, More Than a Feeling. And number 30, Dire Straits, Walk of Life.
Okay. Dire Straits, I know. I'm not sure if I know that song or not. I've heard about the group.
Next week, we break into the top 25 of Mason Fox Top 100 Music.
Okay.
We might have.
He's in his 20s, right? A young man?
Yeah. Mason, I believe, is 24.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Almost 60 years younger than we are. Isn't that amazing?
I want to talk a little bit here before you give some stuff that you have, Dale.
Okay.
About the 250th anniversary of our country. Joseph Olson was going to talk. He's going to write articles, and he's pushing independence celebration coming up here on the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the Farmer Day got coming for us, Dale?
Well, I know that we're going to have a dedication ceremony around the 4th of July, and I don't have those dates in front of me. I'm sorry. And the last I knew, that was still kind of tentative for the Veterans Park that the city and the Legion have been putting together. So it's going to be around Farmers Day time. We're going to tie that all in. And then we've got a couple of exhibits coming that have to do with the military and the founding of the country and that sort of thing that I think will be very impressive. We had wanted to get the wall that heals, but there was such a demand for that, and we had it once, and so we did not make the cut, but we're hoping still to get that sometime in the future. Those are the things that are coming to my mind right now. So I have any other notes with me, but I know we are doing things. We're going to have I think we have close to 500 American flags, and we're going to we'll line the streets with American flags. I know that for the 4th of July and all the way through Farmers. So it's going to look really, really.
Oh, cool.
So
you're talking the bigger flags or the smaller flags?
Well, the ones I don't know if you remember the ones we put out along the road to the cemetery. Yeah. They are regularly, they're not the giant flag, but not little either. They're big flags. They're on like 8-foot poles.
Right. You have 500.
About 500, yes. And I can't think of the man's name, but he and his wife own Legacies, and he purchased a lot of flags for us. He was real good. We have a lot, and it's amazing where they're on metal poles of some kind, where they just take a cement drill and drill a hole through the crushed rock along the side of the road and stick that pole in there, and it works just great. And so I think I probably would have been out there. I don't know what I'd have done, but I never would have thought of that. But those big round cement, it just works perfect. Battery operated drills, and so that's how we put. So we get 6-8 people, and you can put a couple miles of those up in not too bad a time.
Oh, neat. Thanks for doing that, Dale.
Oh well, I'm always glad to help.
So Dale, what do you have? I know you have something on toilet paper. You mentioned something else, Dale.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about the basketball that's coming down to the end and start on the 26th. The boys and girls are both AGWSR is coming, and then on the girls on the 30th are at Old Wine, and on the 3rd of February they're at Union, and on the 6th they're at Wapsie Valley, and the 10th, the last game on this schedule so far, having Denver come. Denver's got a pretty good team, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And then the boys, they have on the 26th, AGWSR is coming in. Then 1:30, January 30th, they're at Old Wine. 3rd of February, they're at Union. Then Vinton Shellsburg come to must be like a JV varsity doubleheader kind of thing on the 5th of February. Then they're at Wapsie Valley on the 6th. And then they're playing at Waukon on the 12th, which I would imagine would be a pretty tough game. Those guys are usually good. So that's coming up. And the wrestlers, they're versus East Marshall in North Tama on the 27th of January, and it does not say where that's at, but it must be at Jesup. I think it is. And then the conference tournament is on January 31st at Denver. And so if you like wrestling, there'll be a lot of good wrestlers there because there's some good ones in the conference. And I don't know, the NICL, they have so many teams. I don't know if this is just like one section's conference champion, tournament, or if all the NCIL schools are going to be there. I have no idea how they're going to do that. But at Denver, they could handle a big crowd. Though.
Yeah,
you might be doing them all.
I know for basketball, it's one league now. Yeah. I don't know about the rest.
Okay, yeah, they keep trying to get that sorted out where it works well for everybody, and I don't get the news on that anymore like I once did because I'm not involved with it with any kid or anything. But the library's got all their regular programs, but I did want to mention that National Seed Swap Day on the January the 31st. If you're a gardener, that's a real good time to bring some of those half-empty seed packets in and trade those for something maybe that you haven't planted before or that you're out of that you'd like to plant. And everybody can get 5 free seed pack. And if you bring a kid under 12 with you, they can pick up a couple of them on their own. So they have quite a bit going on. So on January 31st at 10 o'clock at the library, that's coming on. And then the Monday movie on the 26th is Wild Oats with Shirley MacLaine, Jessica Lange, and Demi Moore. And so that's coming up too. So, okay. I want to talk about toilet paper.
I have one other announcement for the library.
Okay. But it's more important than toilet paper, then go ahead. So.
Artist Katie Belvins will be showing her art in the community room. The library has put up 4 cases, and Katie Belvins is showing pieces in the community room. You get a chance to stop down, look in the community room at Katie's art. She'd appreciate that.
Okay.
So forgive me for interrupting.
No, that's all right. For many years, I ordered toilet paper by the case from a company called Who Gives a Crap? Really. And they are based out of Australia, and their toilet paper is made from bamboo. And see, bamboo replenishes itself very quickly, whereas if you cut down a forest to make toilet paper out of those trees, well, it takes years for those trees to come back. That's supposed to be eco-friendly. Okay. The article here says eco-friendly toilet paper gains popularity, but climate impacts vary. And it talks about experts say more consumers want toilet paper made from recycled content or sustainable materials, but it can be hard to know what to look for. Sustainable toilet paper often costs more, but can have significant environmental benefits. According to the Environmental Paper Network, a coalition of nonprofits, more than 1 billion gallons of water and 1.6 million trees could be saved if every American used one roll of toilet paper made from recycled content instead of a roll made from forest fiber. So that's just that everybody in America used one roll of this other stuff, recycled stuff, during the course of the year. That's how much we would save in water and trees. And so recycled fibers, and I got a big kick out of this because it talks about the best is not to use the pulp from trees. You're cutting down trees that can be used for something else. They use chlorine to make it nice and white, and then they have to use a lot of electricity and power to moisturize it and make it into those nice little square sheets. But it says they're making toilet paper from recycled paper products, which avoids material from freshly cut trees and are using chlorine-free bleaching tech. And then they had to say this, which I thought was kind of obvious, but that once used, toilet paper itself is flushed and not recycled. And I thought, okay, isn't that pretty obvious to everyone?
Yes, thank goodness. Thank
goodness. I know I've kidded people before that. I like using that recycled toilet paper, but that's pretty bad. So
you could go to most stores and buy a 4-pack before COVID very easily, and COVID ended that. There's a couple of reasons they do that stores do that. They can make more money on the larger packages, on the 8-pack. Also, they're spending as much money packaging the 4-pack as they are the 8-pack. So they're saving on package as well.
No, it's quite a thing. Some stores, you think if you buy a larger container, like you buy an 8-pack instead of a 4-pack, you save money. But sometimes stores know that you're doing that. So if you don't pay attention, but like I there was a 3-pack of Irish Spring soap, and I figured out it would cost like $1.70 a bar or whatever. But then there was an 8-pack there of the same stuff, and it only cost me like 60 cents a bar. And so I said, that makes no sense. It's that much difference, but you saved a lot of money buying the larger quantity at that time. Yes. I want to say, it says, making toilet paper from post-consumer recycled fibers improves its sustainability because paper is one of the easiest materials on the planet to recycle. So it might be something to look for some of that kind of stuff. At the end, well, it kind of got me. It says alternative materials such as fast-growing bamboo are often billed as more sustainable than toilet paper made from trees, but consumers should focus on toilet paper made with recycled materials instead, said Ronald Gonzalez. He's an expert on fibers used in the hygiene industry. Gonzalez said pollution from manufacturing processes can reduce the benefits of using bamboo. Gonzalez recently co-authored a study that found bamboo toilet paper made in China that is available in the U.S. had a higher environmental impact than toilet paper made in the U.S. with imported forest fibers, largely because Chinese manufacturers use electricity generated by coal. Now, the stuff I get is made in Australia, but I've never really thought about how they manufacture it. But I thought, well, that's worth looking into. Jim, do you have a bidet?
I don't. It is my house is a little older, so no. Do you guys?
No, I don't know of anybody that does have one, but it talks about bidets are devices that allow people to rinse after using the bathroom so they can reduce or avoid wiping. They're another way people can reduce their toilet paper use. Bidets, which are popular in Europe, can be a separate wash basin or a device added to toilets that generate a stream of water. Some people still use a small amount of toilet paper to dry off. Bidets that can be attached to your toilet and don't use electricity can cost about $30, while toilet seats with options such as heated water and air dryers can exceed $600. Now, I think if I had a toilet seat with options such as heated water and air dryer, I might never get out of the bathroom because I would say, oh, this is pretty good. So, but anyway, that's another option for you, Jim.
Thank you. I'll look into that, Dale. Thank you.
It'd be interesting to see how many people in America do have these, if they're putting them in newer homes, or if any of our listeners have any idea about that. Well, either have one or know of one, why give us a call, because I find that very interesting.
Put those in the show note comments. You can put those in the comments.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. So did you want me to go on? You want to give me a break for a while?
I will give you a break here.
Okay.
This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. I want to talk about limiting the is. Before I talk about this, though, Dale, did you tell Deb about the show El Messiah?
Oh, yes, I did. I told her that it was a show you were recommending. There are many Netflix things. We do not have Netflix, but she is seeing so many shows she wants to see that I think is in our very near future. We're going to have that with a better TV. And so, yeah, but I did tell her about the show.
It is. I think I'm paying $16.50 right now for my Netflix a month. Mm-hmm. I won't tell you how I got it before that.
Well, the darn neighbors moved away. They took the cord and everything with them.
They did. But anyhow, another book that I'd recommend that you read, and I've talked about this book before, is called Illusion. The author in there, one of the characters in there, talks about the is in there. Poem is called Don't Limit the Is. And before I read this poem, I wanted to talk about what the is. There you go. So what you see of what something is may not be how I see it, Dale. So we were supposed to have an event at Joe's Pizza tonight. And Joe had 100 pieces of free pizza for people to come. We saw 100 people coming to see the artists and have some of Joe's Pizza. But some people aren't going to come into the pizza place to see art. Or some people see the is, that's not the way it is. They may just phone in for delivery of the pizza. So the is may be, if we plan on having a concert, maybe we plan on 100 people. Another member of the Steve Brown Arts Center sees the is 15 people coming to the concert as a success. When you spoke, we had 35 people at the library.
Yeah, something like that.
And that was a big success for me in my mind. Now,
me too, because I thought there'd only be 3, so all related to me. So
and so a lot of people say, when they're planning things, well, I'm going to fail because it is not going to be successful. And I respond, don't limit the is. So what is success? Success for those 15 people is success. That concert for those 15 people is a big deal. So there's not 100 people there. It's still a big deal. Don't limit the it. That's what I'm trying to get people. That's how the Steve Brown Arts Center was born. We didn't necessarily have large crowds at first. We still don't, all the time. I've decided, just because we don't have large crowds, we're not limiting the is. But here's the poem, Don't Limit the Is. Don't limit the is. Let it sprawl across the walls, graffiti of being, unruly, on box, on tame. Don't limit the is. It's a paradox. It's laughter in the ruin. It is the wild spark that refuses the cage. Don't limit the is. It is multitudes, a chorus of contradictions, a congress of chaos, a mural painted by every hand. Don't limit the is, because this is bigger than plan, brighter than rule, messier than perfection. Don't limit the is. Let it breathe. Let it rebel. Let it become. That is, to one person, isn't success to another. So that is the is. Dale, I can see that we are getting close. We have about 15 minutes left in the show. What else did you have for us?
I thought this was interesting. We had trouble getting the mail, so I got 4 or 5 papers at one time, and this was in the same paper, but it's from, this is Nicole Heyer, and she works for the Heritage Foundation, which is, if I remember right, is a very conservative, pro-Trump kind of thing. She's talking about how Trump's strike in Venezuela is going to aid U.S. energy dominance, that we will have more oil. We will be dominant in the oil industry and selling oil. She talks about how the oil companies lost their oil rights when certain, dictators in Venezuela took over and nationalized all the oil fields and this sort of thing. It says, as an oil export dependent country, Venezuela will benefit from increased investment and production that would lift millions out of poverty and create jobs. While the largest beneficiaries will certainly be the Venezuelans who have been liberated from Maduro, American oil firms and labor deservedly stand to profit largely too. Celebrations worldwide following Maduro's capture and basic economic logic suggest tangible profit-making developments for both America and the people of Venezuela. With the new year having only just begun, the next decade will certainly be filled with opportunity, oil, and prosperity. Drill, baby, drill in both Venezuela and the United States. Same paper. I had this all set up and I lost it.
As Dale finds this, don't forget.
Talk about something, yeah.
Don't forget to check out the 24-hour hot camera sponsored by Joe's Pizza in Manchester. You can find it live on our new and improved SteveBrownArtCenter.org website that is up and running, along with 24-hour camera that is in Joe's Pizza in Independence as well.
Okay. All right. Let me finish this real quick. In the Courier then, same day, there's an article about Venezuela, and it says, the dense and sticky Venezuelan crude is high in sulfur, making it harder to extract and refine than other oil, such as the lighter oil produced from U.S. shale fields. This is a guy that works for the Center on Global Energy Policy at Columbia University. It is very dense, very sloppy, very hard, and it's also very sour. What that means in practical terms is that it requires, versus other types of oil resources, higher infrastructure, higher use of energy. It's much more energy intensive and hence much more carbon intensive as well. Still, many U.S. refineries were designed decades ago to process that type of oil, making Venezuela crude a good fit despite its higher processing demand. Even a modest increase in Venezuelan oil production could carry large climate consequences. Ma Davy said raising output by about 1 million barrels a day would add roughly 360 million metric tons of carbon dioxide a year from production. Pushing production to around 1.5 million barrels a day could drive annual emissions to about 550 million tons, comparable to the emissions from roughly half of all gasoline-powered vehicles in the United States. He says that far larger emissions are generated when the oil is eventually burned by consumers. In the last little bit. In recent public remarks, U.S. officials have focused on control of oil sales, revenues, and infrastructure repairs without mentioning environmental safeguards or climate impact. In Caracas, Antonio de Lucio, an environmental professor and researcher at the Central University of Venezuela, said oil exploitation in the country has long gone hand in hand with with environmental damage, leaving decades-old pollution that has never been fully addressed. He said Venezuela's heavy oil reserves lie in fragile plains crisscrossed by slow-moving rivers, a geography that can magnify the effects. Any oil spill has the potential to worsen because these are not fast-moving rivers, they are slow-moving water. The true environmental and social costs of Venezuela's oil had never been fully calculated. If those costs were fully accounted for, we would see that continuing to produce oil is not the best business for Venezuela. The conservative viewpoint was we need to drill, baby drill, get all the oil we can and burn it. And then you see conservation-wise, it's absolutely the worst thing to do. We need to use solar energy like we talked about last week, and wind energy and things that don't create more pollution. So I don't think they realize, if the damn weather doesn't kill us, Trump's policies are going to. The weather is just horrible, and these huge storms coming in time after time, much more frequently, and it's all caused by something. And huge percentage of the world's environmental scientists say it's because of all pollution that we're putting into the airs produced by fossil fuels. I just thought that was interesting. They had one article about how wonderful it will be to drill for that oil, and then the other article says, man, that stuff's going to kill us if we burn too much. Anyway, that's what I had. So
I appreciate that, Dale. Here's something for you before we wrap up the show. Did you know the number one user of electric cars in Norway at about 95%? 95% of the cars in Norway are e-cars. What is Norway's number one product that they produce?
Norway? Are they the ones that do? No, they don't. They do Lego blocks? No, that's Denmark. Denmark does the Lego blocks. I don't know what Norway. I think it's fish. Oil? Yeah.
They're the number one user of e-cars, yet they're their number one product is oil. So people that saying we cannot go to e-cars are all wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think e-cars can work for a lot, but you got to remember Norway is a much smaller country.
5 million people.
Yeah. And area-wise also. And so if they want to drive from one side to the other, it doesn't take them 3 days or whatever. And, it's not 3,000 miles. And so I don't know if we'll ever truly replace gasoline-driven cars, but I think 95% of the driving we use probably could be done with e-cars because most of us within 500 miles or so, which they will do. So, I people see that. Other countries see how beneficial this is for the world and doing their best. And the big powers, China's a big polluter. The United States is a big polluter.
Russia's a big polluter.
Russia's a big polluter because they don't care about the future. I don't think. I don't know. I don't understand them.
Neither do I. One more time before we wrap up. We want to thank Joe's Pizza for if they would have had us in Manchester.
We'd have had a good time, wouldn't we?
We would have had a good time. We'd ate a lot of pizza. I had a physical yesterday. The doctor said, well, eat well because your numbers are good. Okay. I said, all right.
I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. We would have had Billy Joe Oldakowski. We'd have had Rex Nielsen. We'd have had Katie Kelly. We'd have had singer, guitar player Tim Kimmer with us, and that's our plans to have them on someday. If you would like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center or have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@SteveBrownArtsCenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message. I know Dale's on assignment next week, so you have to put up with Blake and I. Let me quick glance and see if we have a guest yet. We don't have a guest yet for the 28th. I will try to pursue a guest for the 28th. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber, producer Blake Tempus, who's hiding behind that cartoon over there.
Yeah, we haven't seen him at all, have we?
No, and our thanks.
Best looking of the three.
Our thanks to our sponsors. As always, make sure you support our sponsors. And they are good to us. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your life. And remember that each day is about little victories.